So guys, we've been talking about the democratization piece now for probably a couple of months with investors, people that we've interviewed with, people that are attending the gigs that have maybe found that because they don't have a high performance GPU or a dedicated GPU, that they've had not a bad experience, but not quite the supreme experience that we're receiving because we've got high performance GPUs, we're gamers, and we've got the hardware, we've made the investment. So, I just really want to talk about how we've now got to a point where we've finally been able to find a solution to wrap up a high performance GPU into the ticket price for every user that's basically going to be attending a next gig.
Well, so there's a few pieces. So we understand on our side how big is the difference between actually having the technical requirements and through working with the artists. We know how maybe not intuitive it is for everyone else, because for most people, even though it's a 3D environment, they perceive it still somehow similar to a video, and they expect it to run on almost any machine, be it like a low performance laptop or something that doesn't have a graphic card at all, and then, or a low performance computer for that matter. And we understand how big of a difference it is, but for us, even for those of us who have maybe not top end computers, the performance is still relatively good. The biggest difference is something that even some of the artists noticed when we almost forced them into finding a better computer. So we are talking to them on multiple events, and when we are doing tests and trying to talk to them, can you find a gaming computer? Maybe you have a friend, a child, someone who's streaming games or something like that, that you can manage to get a better computer on with a better connection, with a better graphic card. And we know from that, from their perspective, it was a night and day difference. And the feedback was like, okay, now I'm on a good computer, and now it feels like I'm almost on a live event, and they get really hyped. And obviously the experience is so much better if you get a stable, let's say 60 FPS and high level graphics, and everything runs much smoother. The interaction is much better for them as well. And for us, it was a thing about, how to democratize it and give that experience to as many people as we can as part of what we're doing. And we're trying to look for different solutions. We're trying to see, can we make a solution that will work in a web browser, but then we cutting down on effects and fidelity, and the performance, even on a better machines, is still not as good. And recently we dived into rendering the game and effectively deploying, doing the builds on the cloud machines, and effectively aiming to connect to the next environments through a virtual server. So similar to something like on PlayStation or NVIDIA or some other ones, they start providing services that effectively provide you with cloud gaming. We're looking into a solution where we can link the Nix accounts and effectively allow people to join for the event and use either an application or a browser, but effectively allows you to, like what we tested, allows you to join an event even on your mobile phone, and then stream it to a TV if you want to, or just play it like almost anywhere. And because we're leveraging the compute power somewhere else and only streaming to the device, as long as you have good enough internet, it effectively like opens the whole new door, because we can then say, if you want to join an event, click here. If you can run a test and see if your machine is good enough. If you don't feel like confident, or you want to have, best experience that is prepared by us, just use a cloud machine and just click here. And it allows us to do a few things, because on one side, it allows us to make sure that the experience is more uniform and everyone is getting a more similar, higher quality, smoother experience. But on another hand, it's also providing, like, lowering the barrier. It doesn't require a user to download something. You can literally click a link, open an application in the browser, and you can join an event. And that's brilliant.
All right, so let me pick up from here. And from technical point of view, the bar is not as much lowered as moved to a different dimension. but it seems that then it's much easier to clear, because while the technical requirements to run the event from the cloud rendering machine are much lower in terms of computing power of the device which is receiving the stream. The internet bandwidth requirements are much higher. But it seems that unbeknownst to us, who are all gamers and have strong platforms and expect most of the people to have PCs with the GeForce at least in their
in the cable
in the
network.
machine, yeah, and the cable network, and most likely also the fiber to home connection. Lots of people, especially in artistic environments, make do with much weaker machines. Not going into the details of makes, brands, and operating systems. Basically, this means they're struggling to run the software at all, even if and when they manage to go through the barrier of downloading, installing, and configure it on their own. So the equipment computing power we trade here for bandwidth, but with improving even mobile connections and spreading fiber and 5G coming, now it should be less and less of a problem. And suddenly we solve also another issue, not only talking about the strength of the PCs and laptops which we run the software on, but also other types of devices. And suddenly there is nothing stopping us to run the event or the participants to participate, to join the events from their mobiles, from their tablets, from their TV, smart TVs, from their smartwatches. Why not? As long as the connection is fast enough, they'll be able to participate in the event.
Now that's something I want to try. I want to see a next event on a watch. We'll have to make that happen.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But yeah, like we did test, like I did test it myself, where we connected to the next event from a mobile phone, and with a wireless keyboard and mouse, you connect it to the phone. You plug the phone to a TV, and suddenly you have a gaming PC in your living room, where effectively your phone is your console, and as long as you have the internet connection, you have no limits. But as Mariusz said, potential shortcut to that is having a application running on your TV, something like a streaming service, where you can just browse around different events, click on an event, and join an event. And as long as you have any kind of controller, be it cable or wireless or whatever, like anything that allows you to control your moves, you'll be able to do like directly play on your TV, because it will be
the TV remote. The TV remote would be ideal. Yeah, you have the directional arrows and you have numbers to do dances.
Yeah, you could do some basic interaction. That is true.
Yeah, well, from the point of view of infrastructure, managing access this way would be a separate challenge for us. We would have to anticipate numbers and preset, make available machines for sufficient number of people. It might get much easier with ticketed events, where we'll know exactly how many people are coming, because this is how many tickets we'll sell. On another hand, it makes the distribution much easier. We just have to make one build. We have control over what version, who is running and where, because we'll be managing the environment. We just have to prepare an image and then clone as many machines for each of the events. There is no download. There is no delays. Actually, it's a kind of dream environment for DevOps.
Yeah, so from my perspective, obviously I've been in the VDI space, virtual desktop infrastructure, for 10 years. So, it was very much the case, 10 years ago, of being able to go in and show someone their desktop on an iPad, or move to a thin client infrastructure for their desktop PCs, lowering power, because all you needed was a browser. The high performance virtual desktop was sat in the data center. So to now see what we're able to do, with potentially offering everyone a Quadro P6000 as part of their ticket, is fantastic. And you guys mentioned about the offloading, the rendering, and 5G and Nix Mobile. These are things that we've covered on some recent videos. So that guys, thanks very much for that. Everyone, you know, don't hold your breath. We're going to be coming soon with this to market. Hashtag not just for gamers. Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.